Just a few months ago, I was at the American Association of Law Schools conference in New Orleans, and I was having dinner, and I was talking about how excited I was to have the section here in Nashville, which of course we know here as Music City. And I was discussing the fact that I would love to incorporate music or songwriting or something of this nature into our presentation in some way, but I wasn't quite sure how to do that. And I was very fortunate that sitting at that table having dinner with me is our next presenter, Professor Sarah Gerwig-Moore, who is actually a very old friend of mine. We know each other from before I even went to law school, when I was still a paralegal and an investigator at the Georgia Indigent Defense Council. And she was working there, I believe, during her first year of law school. And we've known each other ever since then. And she turned to me and she said, well, actually, I'm doing research right now on the portrayal of attorneys in music. And so I thought, well, this is it. This is perfect. This is going to be our link to Music City right here. And so she is going to present today, the title of her presentation, What Popular Song Lyrics Tell Us About Gideon's Failed Promises. And just by way of brief introduction, because I don't want to take any time away from her presentation, she is a professor of law at Mercer University School of Law in Macon, where she teaches and writes in the area of constitutional criminal law. And at Mercer, she is also the founder of the Habeas Project, which provides pro bono representation in Georgia post-conviction cases. So please join me in welcoming Professor Sarah Gerwig-Moore.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you all in Nashville and talking on this topic. This is actually a research project I've been working on for about 4 years, and this is the first of a series of presentations and short papers about what we can learn about ourselves from popular song lyrics. Academics find a way to talk and write about just about everything. There are lots of academic articles about film and lawyers, right? So people are writing about this, TV and lawyers. And we even have, highly relatable memes. I'm not sure who's writing about that. Maybe I'll write about those next. This might resonate with some of you. It definitely resonates with me. Right? So this is an analysis, like I said, I've been working on this for about 4 years, of music and lyrics mentioning, usually excoriating, lawyers, just to see what we can find out about ourselves, right? Professionalism, level of service and representation, what is out there, right, in the popular culture about who lawyers are. So we first looked at songs with the word lawyer in the title, right? So that's kind of easy. That's an easy, relatively easy Google search. Judges, because of course they're lawyers too. But we actually looked farther down into the lyrics, not just lyrics of songs with law or lawyer in the title, but was the content about lawyers, right? So that took a little bit longer. I've been working through social media requests for referrals, and looking through YouTube, listening to albums. The time ranges from Woody Guthrie to Cardi B, and we're still going, right? So people are writing, in fact, more about lawyers than they used to, which doesn't surprise me a lot. I think this is the most comprehensive study of what song lyrics tell us about lawyers. We've found over 300 songs, still counting, right? This is a particular interest. I sing in a faculty band at Mercer called Suin' the Bastards. And we talk about, you just wait for it. We talk about, most of us have experience defending the bastards, but we're suing the bastards. And this has become kind of a private obsession of mine. And again, I think academics do have the flexibility to think and write on interesting and fun topics, although hopefully we won't find the way to take all the fun out of it. So this is one slide of some of the law and lawyers and song lyrics titles that we found. And again, these range across country music, rock music, rap, and hip hop. And when we first started looking at this, I thought we might see a breakdown, like rap and hip hop might have a perspective on lawyers, and then country music might have a different one, and then pop and rock still different. Well, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to the folks in this room, right? Especially given the topics of this seminar. It doesn't break down as much on genre. It breaks down on class. So again, today I'm just talking about criminal justice, delivery systems, and indigent defense in particular. There's plenty of other topics I'm going to write about, like divorce and civil cases and all of that stuff. But for today, the difference in the satisfaction with one's lawyer depends on whether the singer or the voice in the song has money, right? We also found at a particular focus in rap and hip hop, again, not a surprise, on racial disparities in charges, convictions, and sentencing. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And again, like we all know the night that the lights went out in Georgia, right? You don't trust your soul to know backwards Southern lawyer, but Pig, Sheep, and Wolves, Paul Simon's song, talks about his lawyer being high, right? And he must not have had a good lawyer because he was court appointed. This is in the song lyrics. And in Akon's Locked Up, there's like a little tag, where's my lawyer? He's in prison. His lawyer's nowhere to be found. He had a court-appointed lawyer, right? So I did have a parental advisory on the first screen. This is, for the public defenders in the room, right, the trial prep anthem. Who has, like, put this on repeat while you're getting prepped for trial? Am I the only one? Right. The hook is, take that shit to trial, take that shit to trial, right? So you got to suit up. You got to get ready for the fight. Mr. Big in the song tells us all about his assets. And in fact, there's a whole, verse about the police kicking in his mother's door, and they're seizing his mother's assets, and he's wealthy. So he's got 4 lawyers, and strike that bitch up. Let's take that shit to trial. He's confident in the outcome of taking his case to trial, right? Country music. The nights that the light went out in Georgia, this is an execution of an innocent man because the family didn't have money. So again, across genres, the depictions are the same. If you have money, if you have the capital, right, you can hire the kind of lawyer that you want. 99 Problems, written about many, many times, right? And there is a mention of lawyers. I'll also refer you to, I'm not the only one looking at music lyrics and what they tell us about the law. I'll refer you to Caleb Mason's excellent law review article. We literally went verse by verse and analyzed the song on Fourth Amendment grounds. It's fascinating. We're such nerds, right? So. But it's a fabulous piece, and there are people doing work and research around the Fourth Amendment and depictions of law enforcement. Again, that wasn't what we were focusing on. We were focusing on lawyers because plenty of people are focusing on law enforcement and police officers. So as Jay-Z says in 99 Problems, he's not trying to have a case, right? He's not trying to have a chase because he's got a few dollars. He can fight the case, right? So that's the he has confidence. He also has confidence in his understanding of his rights. So the trunk is locked, the glove compartment is locked. And I love Jay-Z's impersonation of the white cop, right? Aren't you Sharper's attack? Are you some kind of lawyer? Somebody important or something? And he's like, yeah, actually I am. And I ain't passed the bar, but I know a little bit. I know you can't illegally search my shit. So he knows what his rights are. That's Caleb Mason's article. But again, he's confident that he's going to see the right result in this case. Again, moving on to UB40. The lyric from their song Tyler. Tyler is guilty. The white judge said so. Government lawyers, it's all for show, right? And then Morrissey, ever the optimist. We know Morrissey has lots of good things to say about just about everything. A court of justice with no use for truth. Lawyer, liar. Lawyer, liar. So again, what we saw in a lot of the rap and hip hop lyrics goes a little bit farther than just the disparities between the wealthy and the poor, public defenders and private retained counsel. In Ply's 100 Years, he goes through the whole system right? Starting with charges, but even after conviction, and talks about a number of his friends and colleagues who are facing serious time, and they don't have representation on the front end, and they don't have access to lawyers after they're convicted. So this continues through not just the trial and plea and sentencing system, but in post-conviction challenges. All right, so I know prosecutors in the room, maybe following this, defense attorneys are for sure, right? I am looking at lyrics, but I'm also not saying that we should take them literally, right? And a number of you all may have read the amicus brief submitted to the U.S. Supreme Court to teach our justices about rap lyrics, which is hilarious in itself, right? So 21 Savage and Killer Mike and Meek Mill hired attorneys and submitted this amicus brief. Like, okay, it's art. So what I'm saying in my paper and in this presentation is if, for example, a singer says, I never met my lawyer, we don't then cite that as evidence that he never met his lawyer ever. It's thematic, right? It's art. So again, I think I can walk this line where we can learn something from rap lyrics without getting it twisted. It's still First Amendment protected art. And again, you know, we've got I had to say a little dig on prosecutors. By the way, we looked at the presentations of public defenders. We don't fare very well, right? There's not a lot of confidence in public defenders or court-appointed lawyers. The only lawyers who fare worse are prosecutors. There's literally not a single song that has anything happy to say about prosecutors. And I'm sorry to report that, but that's just how it is. I'm just the messenger. So the song lyrics, the songs are art, but we can learn something. They're a mirror, like other forms of art, to our profession and a reflection of popular culture. So we know that these song lyrics aren't just drawn from whole cloth. They're not fiction, even though they're art. It's borne out by the studies, right? After the anniversary of the Gideon decision, an awful lot of statistical, criminological, sociological studies talk about the right to counsel badly battered at 50. That was in the New York Times right after the 50th anniversary of Gideon. We've got a number of studies across prosecution-minded organizations and defense-minded organizations, and then again, kind of neutral information gathering sources, looking at the provision of counsel, especially to the poor. And what we know is it's still significantly problematic. The number of cases resolved in guilty pleas has not changed significantly since the mass promulgation of indigent defense systems and public defender systems in the early 2000s. We know that funding has increased for public defender offices, but so have caseloads. So they track almost identically. Even as funding increases, we see increase in caseloads. And then we see these news headlines. We don't need a sociological study to know that Justin Bieber, he's smiling here in his mugshot, and affluenza defense, right? And the disparities in sentencing for defendants such as Brock Turner in the Stanford rape case or sexual assault case with those clients who we represent from very, very young ages facing life in prison and getting that sort of sentence. So this is from a PBS NewsHour special on the Mississippi indigent defense system, and it is shocked at this more than 240 cases per public defender. Well, the public defender system in the county where I work and teach has an average caseload of 350 to 400 cases. I've got 2 research assistants here, and one of them is working in that office. They have, again, 250 looks luxurious in comparison to 350 to 400 major felony cases a year. So we also hear these from our clients, right? This is the same kinds of, these are things that have been said to me or to my students. Public pretender, we just sold you out. Public offender, I want a real lawyer. These are reflected in the song lyrics and reflected to us in our relationships with our clients who are frustrated with our heavy caseloads, with public defenders' inability to meet with and communicate with at the same level that the luxurious Cadillac defense. The Georgia legislature said that indigent defendants are not entitled to a Cadillac defense. So I'm not sure I guess we get like a Yugo if you're poor in Georgia. I don't even know if Yugos still exist. And then, of course, we have a number of statistical, sociological, criminological studies on race disparities in the criminal justice system. So the song lyrics may be art, they may be exaggerated in some places, they may be thematically not reliable in terms of quoting or relying on for criminal justice or criminal charges, but we have to confront this, right? And this is a statistic all of us know well. 1 in 4 young Black men have are sent to prison or jail, and a higher statistical likelihood of going to jail or prison than being married or going to college. So this is reflected back to us. And again, not that lawyers are the only way to address and solve these problems, but we have a lot of the tools to solve these problems. And at the panel, the panel that just concluded, talking about prosecutorial discretion in looking at wrongful convictions is powerful. Legislative funding for public defender systems and indigent defense delivery systems is absolutely essential. And again, we can rely on our numbers, we can rely on our own experience and anecdotal stories, but I think we should also be listening to our constituents, whether in our actual clients or to those holding up mirrors to our profession. So I know I stand between you all and lunch, but I was just wondering if you had other suggestions or comments, questions on what we've been finding and what we've come up with. I've put my email on there in case you have a favorite song and wonder if it's included in our spreadsheet. But I also just want to thank and recognize Tiara Williams and Megan Hurley, who are sitting up here at the front, for their hard work over the last year on this project and helping put this presentation together. So, thank you. Any questions, comments, ideas, suggestions? Oh, actually, that's funny. So we drove up from Macon last night after my clinic met, and we do have a long playlist. So it is available on Spotify. The name of the playlist is called "Send Lawyers, Drugs, and Money," and I can share my contact on Spotify. So, right, three different types of weapons: lawyers, guns, and money. So, thank you so much.